My name is Stephen Rockarts. I'm from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I am 25 years old, and I've been making my own skateboards now for about 3.5 years. My younger brother and I started after we built a half pipe in the yard. Built a half pipe up, 4-foot side with a little step up and a 5-foot side. We started thinking, and I was like, hey bro, I'm going to invest in all this equipment. So I worked up for a semester, saved up a couple grand, threw it into the equipment I have now, and then we kind of took it off, started making our own boards, and we've been skating them ever since. It's been a blast. When I first started skateboarding, I was 13.5 years old. I just transferred schools necessarily. We moved into a new house after my parents' divorce, and I didn't play any ball sports or anything like that. I wanted to pick up track, and I did that, but this group of kids was outside school one day, and they were on the skateboard, and I walked up to those guys. They were pretty cool, and they gave me their board, and they're like, let me show you how to do an ollie, and they showed me how to do an ollie, and from that moment on, man, I was hooked. That's where I learned, at my middle school is where I learned how to do a kick flip, burial flips, ollies, 180s, everything with that group of kids. I didn't have a spot to start my skate shop, so my father, after he saw me kind of really dedicating, going into all the materials and stuff, I asked him, we have a storage shed. It's this little, 10 by 15 foot storage shed. And he said, son, he's like, if you clean this shop out, he goes, you can use it. So I built a work table in it. I built the board press behind me. I made my own concrete molds, etc. Kind of shaped my own board, did my own process. When I first started making all my own boards, they didn't necessarily turn out right. My younger brother and I, and we took them out to Columbus, and we found some old concrete pipes out there in the woods. We skated them. About halfway through the day, the boards had fallen apart. The plies had come apart. They didn't hold properly, and that was trial and error. First day. After that, we actually started making more boards. We made a few more. We found out that we were using the wrong type of glue. Did a little bit of research. Found the correct glue to use. Threw that on the boards. We started skating. Everything kind of got better from there. After that, it was just applications, how much to use, what not to use, dry times from there. About 15, 20 boards into it, we finally got it down to a science. We got it started up. My younger brother and I started, he started making some on the side. I started making some on the side. I wound up making several and taking them to a park that recently opened up in Greensboro, Alabama. And it's called Lions Park. And that's where I took some of my boards. I've sold some down there. That was definitely a good start for me. One day I brought 4 boards down there and I left with 0. So that was nice. When I first started, I didn't necessarily know how to make my own mold, how to make my own press. And this is what we came up with. I did a lot of research online. I found a DIY project, and it called for, if you see the blank holes, it actually called for 4-inch channel. I bought 5-inch channel, but we made it work. These springs actually support this main section right here for the press. This is a 30-ton bottle jack that we use for the actual compression with the mold that's underneath that we use to press all the boards. I personally like to leave my boards on overnight. Technically, they only need maybe like 3 hours, 2-3 hours, but I like to leave my boards on overnight just to ensure that they're necessarily pressed properly, the glue time, that way your concave holds and everything like that properly. We just have a little bit more of a process necessarily to get the molds lined up. Once you get the molds lined up, you just crank down on it and you're pumping out some boards. It took me a long time to get a good board, like I said previously, about 15-20 boards, and this is the process to getting where I wanted to be. This is the process it took. We went through a lot of material, a lot of money necessarily to get everything started up, a lot of time. Fortunately, though, I was young. I had a lot of time. Getting to skate, chill every day, My younger brother and I would spend probably 4 or 5 hours in the afternoon out here just coming up with designs, We'd sketch out some little templates, some little sketches. We'd get it all together. We'd put it on boards. We'd paint it, We'd gloss it up. We'd shred them. They may break in like 2 hours, in the first. Then boards started lasting longer. Boards started becoming more durable. And then we got to the point where both of us now, for the past 3 years, have skated nothing but what comes off of our press. And the board that I have right now, I've been skating for about 6 months. They they're great. I really enjoy my shape. I really enjoy my concave. It's not too steep. It's a bit of a mellow kind of concave, but at the same time it's not too shallow. We like to go on skate trips. He didn't get to go with me this last time, but I'll take my boards and stuff and kind of talk to people whenever we go on skate trips, meet new people. People usually ask me, hey, what type of board is that? There's no brand or stamp. Lots of the time it's just plain because we skate our rejects. And it's always a nice little conversation piece. I'm like, oh man, I made this. And they're like, oh, cool. Where'd you buy your board, to cut it out from offline? I'm like, no. I press it myself. I get all my materials and I glue it. And people get really jacked up. And that's probably the coolest part is other skaters being like, no way you can do that, kind of sparking that interest in other people. It's definitely a dream. It's definitely a passion. I've lost track of time before, just sitting here, cranking out boards. Next thing I know, Saturday's gone, Sunday's gone. But I've got 4 or 5 boards and they look great, and I'll put them all up on my wall for a little bit until I skate them or I'll sell them or I'll give them away. I used to build houses a lot in construction. That's kind of how I got started, working with my hands with wood and materials and things like that. And it was very peaceful to go out every day, have a good hard day's work, and then come home. It was very rewarding being able to come home and kind of kick back and have that accomplishment. And that's kind of what got me started making skateboards, or thinking that I could make skateboards. I love working with my hands. It brings me a peace of mind. It's very relaxing. It's its own type of meditation for me. Especially with skateboarding, being able to come out here and, you're creating something that's going to bring you such joy, or it's going to bring somebody else joy. Getting to make a product that someone's going to be able to take and just, kick it with their friends, hang out, I know it sounds silly, but it's more than just a skateboard to me. It's more like my sweat and my tears went into this, and it's going somewhere to make somebody else happy. I've given away a few boards just for the pleasure of giving, letting someone else kind of enjoy it. I have not done this yet, but if this ever does become a thing, if this ever does turn into a career for me, I would love to open a hands-on skate shop and really just kind of get kids in. Have one day a week. You can bring your kids and they can make their own board. $10, $15, $20, whatever, pay for the product cost, and just have like a workshop. Let them come in, let them use their hands, make their own boards, cut their own shapes out, whatever they want. It doesn't even have to be shaped like a regular board. They cut a fish out, let them grip it, do whatever they want to, really just kind of get kids interacting with each other, letting kids using their hands. It's such a great tool to motivate, children to want to do something. And I think that would be something I would love to do one day. Get my own skate shop, have a weekly kind of outreach program for any kid that wants to come around and make their own board. It's definitely a great passion. I love it. Like I said before, if I could do this for the rest of my life, if I could make a career out of making skateboards, I would do it in a heartbeat. No doubt. Just drop it all. Drop it all.